have Wayne Bell from the Small Business Administration here in Wichita. Wayne, good afternoon. I think that the big thing that we all want to know is, will this actually affect you and I, the consumer, you and me, when we are at the checkout?
Thank you. I ultimately, if those fees are reduced for merchants, then yes. And by this settlement, it's anticipated that they'll have more flexibilities. So ultimately, yes, it could result in uh, some reduced costs that are passed along to those of us consumers. However, one
Yeah,
thing we should know, the decision is not it's not finalized, and it's anticipated that this would all be finalized and go into effect perhaps in late 2024 or early 25.
yeah, that's a good thing to touch on. Of course, this isn't finalized until it's to a U.S. court, I believe. Um, but right now, a 20-year lawsuit, essentially starting back in 2005. I guess from your point, are these fees that credit cards charge businesses and small businesses specifically, do they hinder small business owners?
Well, obviously, there's a convenience that the consumer has, and that's probably one of the reasons that between Visa and Mastercard that they've established these fees, these interchange fees, because of the conveniences that go along with many of the customers, having Visa or Mastercard. However, the costs oftentimes have been borne, or paid by, these smaller merchants, small businesses, or they may have resulted in upcharges that are passed along, to consumers. And so the idea here is to give them relief. Each transaction that has involved a Visa or a MasterCard has resulted in an interchange fee of anywhere from 1.5% to 3% for these merchants. And so if they're able to uh, bring that down, then obviously the result should help the merchants, but also help consumers. So, but officially, we're kind of stand by to see how this shakes out from the SBA standpoint. Obviously, we're in favor of anything that helps small businesses. That's why we're here, and so looking forward to ultimately a good outcome for small business, and we're going to you know lean into that and make sure they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, Wayne, on a almost broader conversation of what we're using when we're at the checkout counter of cards or cash, check, even the buy now, pay later options are starting to increase a little bit year by year for small businesses and merchants in general. Um, I know that Visa and MasterCard are the two, like those are our core two here in the US, but as far as maybe other ones, they can still charge higher fees still, correct?
That's my understanding. Yes.
And that's like American Express, Chase, some of those other ones, well, which tend to typically be high. Um, I guess, are those still a worry for small businesses and maybe SBA as well?
Well, I'm not closely familiar with the other, larger banking industry rates and the interchange rates that are being passed along to merchants. I just know this that, you know, merchants want to make their products accessible. They want to make these exchanges, customer friendly, and oftentimes, using these larger merchants such as or larger banking uh, providers such as Visa or Mastercard enable and help the conveniences associated with those transactions. And so again, as a small business, they're taking advantage of something that perhaps helps the customer in one way, but it has been a bit of a burden, it appears, to those smaller merchants. So anything again that helps them, we're in favor of, and looking forward to, how this outcome might help and benefit small businesses. And again, we're standing by, always encouraging, for usage of programming and tools that are going to help them to grow their businesses, to, sell their products, and just help them to, move forward in their, you know, further business.
Yeah, and I guess going as consumers, we're continuously using our credit cards, so those swipe fees are still going to be charged by the merchants. This only goes into effect until 2030 if it does make it through this next step after the what was announced on Tuesday. I guess after that, as we can predict, that continuously use credit cards more and more. I mean, is this just kind of a drop in the bucket of what's after 2030? Are fees going to go back up?
See, stand by to see what looks. You're exactly right. We could go back to the same environment, or it could be, even more of a detriment, to the small businesses involved. So I think we're just standing by again to see how it shakes out, and but definitely that longer term outcome is something that we should all pay close attention to.
Yeah. Last question, Wayne. I guess once again, how much do these swipe fees impact small businesses?
Well, I think it impacts them quite a bit. I mean, again, collectively, the number I saw was like in 2023, over $100 billion collectively in these fees. These interchange fees were paid by small businesses or by merchants. So it's a big deal. When when you consider a small business that maybe their revenues are, a few hundred thousand, having to pay any additional cost that maybe they were not anticipating in their budgets or what have you. 1% can really turn out to be a pretty big deal when it comes out of their bottom line.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Wayne, once again from the Small Business Administration Office here in Wichita. Have a great rest of your day.